ability to inspire and captivate audiences through his words. But his talent doesn't stop at public speaking. He also shone brightly in the world of pageantry. In 2023, he was crowned Mr. PSU Ordinata and went on to achieve third runner-up at the Mr. PSU competition. Prior to that, he represented his journalistic community as Mr. Regional Higher Education Press Conference in 2022 and continued his pageantry journey, earning the title of second runner-up in the 2024 Mr. Luzon Wide Higher Education Press Conference competition. In journalism, his dedication and skill has been repeatedly recognized. This year, he achieved 6th place in opinion writing English at the Regional Higher Education Press Conference and 2nd place in the same category at the Luzon Wide Higher Education Press Conference. His contributions to the editorial craft were further acknowledged with multiple awards, including 4th place in opinion and editorial page RAPSI, and 8th place in tabloid and editorial page LAPSI. Throughout his collegiate journey, he has taken on pivotal roles in the Technoscope publications, serving as opinion writer 2020 and 2024, associate editor 2021, editor-in-chief 2022, and opinion editor 2023. As a testament to his leadership, he also served as the 2023 president of the Association of Campus Editors in Region 1, where he guided aspiring journalists to pursue excellence in their craft. Beyond competing and leading, he has also shared his knowledge as a speaker at the 2021 Makabagong Jornalismo 2.0, a webinar series on modern campus journalism, inspiring and empowering the next generation of campus writers. With his vast achievements and experience, we are truly fortunate to have him with us today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Agnes J. Estrada.
Okay, thank you very much for that very warm and loving introduction. Once again, my name is Agnes J. Estrada, but you can call me Kuya Agnes. Huwag niyo na akong sir, halos kakaida lang naman tayo. May I know who are the campus journalists here? Whether from here in PSU or Urdaneta or in other campuses. Please raise your hands. Campus journalists. Okay. Remain. Keep your hands up kapag taga dito sa PSU campus, PSU Urdaneta campus. And then keep your hands up if Technoscope. And keep your hands up if opinion writers. Okay, so we have 2 opinion writers, is that correct? Okay, thank you very much. I can see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces, a lot of beautiful faces, and a lot of very, very beautiful faces. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Okay, let's start our topic, writing a responsible opinion. So, I heard you guys love quizzes. Parang nag-enjoy kayo sa mga pasabog din natin yan eh. Okay, well let's have an oral quiz. Very basic, similar to what he has done. No right, no wrong answers. Pero baka i-judge kayo ng katabi nyo. Let's try to define the word essay. Please raise your hand. Hindi ko na itututok yung microphone sa inyo. Just give your idea. What do you think of when you hear the word essay? Any hands? Okay?
When I heard essay, what comes to my mind is about how I express my opinions or my articles in a written way.
Correct. Definitely in a written way. Kasi wala namang essay na moral. Okay? If someone would ask you, what part of speech is essay? May nakakalam ka? You can just say it out loud. Noun, verb, adjective, adverb. Now, will someone say that essay, yung word na essay, I wrote an essay, maybe, yun ang sentence nyo. I wrote an essay. Is that a verb, an adjective, an adverb, a preposition, a noun? May kontrabida ba? Dun sa word, dun sa ano na noun? Okay ba sa lahat? Okay, well that's correct. Merriam defines the word essay as an analytic or interpretive literary composition, blah, 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 from a limited or personal point of view. Again, that's correct. It is a noun. But what if you learn a new word today? It's also essay, but it's not a noun. It's a verb. Essay, to make an often tentative or experimental effort to perform. In other words, to try. Ayan yung antonym niya, oh. Can you see it? The synonym is try. First time nyo lang ba malaman yun? That the word essay can also be a verb. That the word essay can mean to try. So what's the point of an essay? The point of an essay is to try to solve an issue. You don't write an essay to express maybe your emotions. You can, but it's not the point. We have poetry for that. We have other forms of writing for that. You don't try to write an essay to argue something for research. We have academic writing for that. Essays are completely different. Essays, again, are used to try to solve something. So, an opinion article is basically an essay. You try to solve something. You're faced with an issue, tulad ng binanggit din natin yan. You have your opinion on it, and then you try to solve it. So what is an opinion article in the context of journalism? Remember, when you say opinion, pwede naman everyday yan eh. Pwede naman opinion ko, mas magaling siya, mas magaling ako. Pwede naman opinion ko, mas masarap ang McDo kaysa sa Jollibee. Pwede naman, I'm trying to convey my opinion to try to persuade you. Baka gusto ko kayong iscam, baka gusto ko kayong invite sa networking ko. But within the context of journalism, we have three kinds of opinions. First is an editorial. This is the official viewpoint of a publication. This is usually formal and cordial. Usually respectful. Okay? So again, an editorial is not a viewpoint of one person. It's the viewpoint of the entire publication. That is the viewpoint of one person. That's called a column. Why is it called a column? Because usually it's written horizontally within the paper. Vertically within the paper. And it will look like a column. Para siyang, ano ba column? Ito, diba? Column to. And this can be personal, this can be expressive, this can be stylish. Who said you have to be formal? Meron na akong ginawang column article. I used something like parang Gaelico. But it wasn't Gaelico, it was something different. Parang yung yung style nung style ni
Talapito.
yeah, familiar ways of Talapito, Sinich Ide. That's kind of like okay? And lastly is an op-ed. I don't think this is practiced in the Technoscope or in other campus publications. An op-ed means opposite to the editorial. This is, kung ano man yung stand ng editorial, someone will write a complete opposite of it. So let's say the topic is mandatory ROTC. The stand of the publication may be against it. Someone will write an op-ed against their stand. Okay? But if an editorial is written by the publication, who writes an op-ed? An op-ed is usually written by a person outside the publication. So the reason it isn't practiced in campus publications, kasi yung paper na yun, ginagamit panlaban sa regional, sa Luzon-wide. And paano naman makikredit yung certain person na yun if he or she is not a part of the publication? Okay? Alright. So, now that we know what an opinion is, we know what an opinion is in the context of journalism, what is a responsible opinion? Now personally, I wasn't too sure as well. Because if I can think of maybe yung repercussions, I've written lots of opinion articles that had very bad repercussions. I've had opinion articles that made a lot of haters, bashers. I've been sent to the CED's office, not because of an opinion I personally wrote, but because of an opinion that my writer wrote. And kung i-base mo siya sa repercussions, then are you saying all of the jailed journalists are irresponsible? If that's the case, then you're giving the state the ability to declare what's responsible and what's irresponsible. But the entire point of journalism is to separate it from the state. The entire point of journalism is to be a mouthpiece outside of the state. So, I thought of a few characteristics of a responsible opinion. First is clear. Hindi pwedeng paligoy-ligoy. I don't like opinions na, you're not really sure what you want. Parang nagpapapansin ka lang. You have to be clear in what you want, okay? And you have to stand firm on it. Second is fact-based. When we say facts, it doesn't necessarily mean na kailangan kang mag-cite ng sandamakmak na research. Pwede namang logic eh. Okay? So, if you say, my opinion is dapat magkaroon tayo ng nagbabantay doon sa harap para matulungan yung mga students dumaan sa pedestrian lane. You don't need to cite research that that's effective. Obviously, that's logic. Next is fair. You consider multiple perspectives. This is not the same with siding over the other, okay? By considering multiple perspectives, you look at them, and then you say why they're wrong. And you don't turn them into a straw man. Kung alam niyo yung straw man fallacy, yung straw man fallacy is basically you put the opinion of your competitor over here, and then you try to make it as small as possible. Mamalitin mo yung opinion niya para saka mo siya sisirain. As opinion writers, what I always advocate is do the opposite of that. Palakihin mo yung opinion niya, give him all the facts, give him all the evidence, give him all the strength that he would need to possibly be right, and then beat that. Okay? When you write an opinion, huwag kayong mag-focus sa stand nyo. Spend 90-80% of the time studying the stand of the other. Who knows? Baka magbago pa isip nyo. Last is accountable. We've heard about anonymous writers. Personally, I'm not a fan. Why? Because it destroys all of their credibility. Kapag may nakita kayong basher sa Facebook, tapos nakita nyo Tami account, anong sinasabi? Tami account? It doesn't matter. Kasi this person can't even stand on what he believes. So personally, if you can't stand directly in front of what you believe, and you can't stand firm, huwag ka na mag-opinion. You can just shut up. There's no problem with that. Okay, marami mo nagalit sa'yo. Pero kung hindi mo kaya ipaglaban yung opinion mo, you shut up. Okay. So why does this matter? You may think, estudyante lang naman ako. I don't really matter. Di naman ako SEC president. Baka nga di rin naman ako technoscope, di naman ako campus journalist. Di naman ako important person. I'm just a chill guy. Does my opinion even matter? Well, that's what I thought of before. Until I posted this. Sino ang taga-Pusurubyo? Taas kamay. Wala? Pusurubyo, isa? Dalawa? Okay. Actually, nag-cringe ako kapag nababasa ko itong ginawa ko way back 2020. Pandemic. Sabi ko dito sa cruise ko, and honestly, I still cringe about it. Shout out sa incompetent LGU ng Pusurubyo, Pangasinan. Kinaya nyo mag-house to house ng stop, pero hindi nyo kinayang ihatid sa bawat bahay yung bigas. Nagkakamatayan ng mga nurse at doktor, pero ginawa nyo sardinas ang constituents nyo. Mass gathering is strictly prohibited, pero yun mismo ang ginawa nila. Ano to? Para lang pumunta si Mayor at magpakita ng gilas? Seryosong usapan, nag-iisip ba kayo? Still, nag-cringe pa rin ako. Well, I was really fired up when I wrote that. And, medyo mahaba-haba pa. The context of it is, may paayuda, may binigay na bigas, instead na ihatid bawat bahay, or yung ginagawa na mag-iiwan ng lamesa ng upuan sa harap, tapos iiwan doon. Ang ginawa, pinagsama-sama lahat ng mga makakatanggap ng ayuda sa isang napakasikip ng lugar. If you can see the pictures over here. At pumunta pa si Mayor doon, at pinagpila-pila yung mga tao. Like, honestly, this looks so inhumane. Diba? Pipila-pila kayong lahat kasi, wala kayong trabaho, o wala kayong mabili ng bigas. And then, ganyan, na parang ginawa kayong spectacle, and all of a sudden, pupunta agad si Mayor, like, ang tagal pa namin nagantay dyan, 2-3 hours maybe bago dumating yung truck ni Mayor. Tapos dati siya, hi. And that garnered around 3,000 likes, reactions, and 3,000 shares, and a bunch of comments. Immediately after that, pinago na nila. Sinabi nila sa mga barangay, palabasin nyo yung mga upuan, tapos sinalagay ng bigas. So that's effective. It works. But, yan, may accountability issue. So I had to stand firm on that. When I posted this, obviously, ang daming reaction. Ang daming sinasabi. If you can even see here on the left side of your screen, marami pa akong death threats na natatanggap. May mga nag-chat sa akin, sinasabi, huwag ka nang matutulog, hindi ka na magigising. Ang daming death threats na mga puro mga daming accounts. Sabi ko, irrelevant, daming accounts eh. So, ano sabi niya to? Darating din ang credit mo, Agnes Estrada, hinihintay ka na ni kamatayan. Sweet dreams. Ang sabi ko, pakisabi, pakibilisan, naiinip na ako. Tapos, minaylay ko, sabi ko, ang bagal, parang pagdating ng relief goods. Was I scared? Not really. Not really. Pero, actually, pinuntahan ako ng mga pulis sa bahay. They wanted to talk to me. And I said, okay, sige, mag-usap tayo. Pero may video. Ayaw nila. Ang kulit nila, gusto nila makipag-argue doon. Dami pa nila mga pulis kasama si Kevin na pumunta doon. And alam mo naman kung sinusugod nila ng drug addict doon mga pulis. Ano ba? Facebook warrior lang naman ako. Nag-post lang naman ako sa Facebook, pero yun ang ginawa nila. But I stood firm. Sabi ko, sige, mag-usap tayo, pero video ko. Ayaw nila. If you can see the picture over here, nakikita si Kevin dito, walang face mask. May pamalo din niya na nagkakagilan sa mga tao. Anyways, it sparked a lot of talk. Ayan, maraming mga bad words na mga sinasabi dyan, ang daming mga sinasabi against sa LGU. Marami din naman actually nagko-comment na hindi nakasama ng LGU yan, mga tao kasi pasaway, those kind of things. So, that's their freedom of expression. Now that you know that your opinion does matter, how do you now write a good opinion? Let's split it up in three. First, you plan ahead. Pag-isipan niyo mabuti yung topic, and as much as possible, write something that means something to you. Kung meron kang personal relationship dito sa pinagsusunatan mo, it feels much more real, it feels much more effective, and you're able to convey your ideas much better. Second is, write. Yung mga typical things na naririnig nyo, hook the reader, 5W and 1H, make your case, rebut opposing arguments, and leave a powerful conclusion. Mga basic things na sigurado, ulit-ulit nyo lang napag-aralan. And lastly is you polish, you proofread, fact check, pwede nyo pahabain, pwede nyo paiksiin, and then you check your tone. There is no correct tone, okay? It depends on what you want to achieve. If you want a more cordial tone, a more respectful tone, go ahead. Kung gusto mong magpakabastos, go ahead then. That's your freedom of expression. But you should be able to face the consequences. What about the structure? You start with an introduction. Again, you hook your reader, introduce your topic. Kailangan clear kung anong stand nyo. Next is the body. You lead objectively. You explain clearly. You present your opposition. You support your arguments with facts and evidence and logic. You refute your opposition. You give some examples. And lastly, as your conclusion, you can restate your thesis. You can say, going back, once again, to conclude. And as much as possible, you have to conclude with a punch. Maraming writers, kayang-kaya lahat ng body na to. Sobrang dali. Something a little more difficult than that is the introduction. May gusto akong isulat pero hindi ko alam paano ko sisimulan eh. But I think the hardest of all is ending with a punch. Ending na mapapaisip yung reader na, oo nga no. You give some kind of food for thought, and tapos may maramdaman silang kind of emotion. Whether gusto na nilang gawin to, or against na sila dito, or galit na sila sa'yo. Pwede rin yun. At least you're giving off some kind of emotion. At least hindi ka lang na parang ChatGPT. Parang sobrang black and white mo lang. You give emotions. I consider writing as an art. And the main point of art is to give a feeling. Ang dami natin nakikita ng mga weird na mga art sa museum na parang walang kakwenta-kwenta. Yung iba plain white, yung iba kulto, yung iba ganun lang na sobrang gulo. But if to the person who's looking at it, he finds meaning in that and he feels a certain emotion in that, that's what matters. Kasi art cannot be objectively measured. The same thing with writing. Sure you can write, sure you can objectively assess your grammar. You can follow a certain kind of structure, tapos i-base mo doon. But the point is, ano bang naramdaman ng reader? Always put yourself in the shoes of a reader. Whenever writing, remember, you're not just a writer, you're also a reader. And you're also reading your work, and you're also trying to see, ano bang epekto nitong work sa akin? You should try to feel a sense of emotion, a sense of parang part ko to. This is a part of me. I really believe in this, and I feel so strongly about this. And if you don't have that kind of feeling in what you're writing, wala. You're just like ChatGPT. So let's look at some examples. Kasi madali naman sabihin, di ganito, di ganyan, di ganyan. Let's take a look at some of the things that I've written in the past. First is, title pa lang. Did you guys read it? What did I say earlier? Hook your reader. Kung ikaw napascroll ka sa Facebook, mahuhook ka ba dyan? Ang nakakakabayan. Oh my gosh, it's a joke. And then sabi ko, the essence of democracy lies in the ability to choose. Without choices, where is democracy? I think yung election ngayon may choices. in the past kasi, 2 years ago kasi, and a few years before that, isang party lang. Minsan may lalaban as independent, pero hindi sila lamang president, vice president, or anything lower than that. Pero isa lang lagi ang party. Tapos yung party noon, sila pa din yung party ngayon, nagpalitan ng pangalan. The next year, magpapalit din ng pangalan. And so, sabi ko dito, with the rebranding of the incumbent party, their consistently infeasible platforms, and ill-prepared candidates, the institutional issues within the SSC continues to shine brighter than their policies. These points in question are but symptoms of the underlying illness of our student government institution, the lack of competition. Diba, it's such a bad feeling when you go to a restaurant and isa lang punta ka sa mall, isa lang yung restaurant. Punta ka sa mall, isa lang yung shop na pwede mong bilhan ng tabi. Ang pangit sa feeling nun, you don't have this power consumer. And as a voter, anong point pang buboto ka? Isang party lang naman. So anong naging repercussions yan? Well, marami akong naging bashers, pero plastic sila. Actually, in-expect ko yan. Pagkakahit sila sa akin eh, pagka-post ko. Pero kinabukasan, nakita ko yung nanalong president, hinihitian naman niya ako. So, plastikan lang. But further from that, yung election after that, ang daming hindi tumakbo. Parang ang daming natakot sa Technoscope. Nagbigay ito ng some kind of negative view talaga between the Technoscope and the SSC, which was not my intention about. But again, your words have meaning, and they will produce results. Next, I also wrote about sino ba dapat ang national hero, Bonifacio or Rizal. And in this article, I argue that it should be Bonifacio. Sabi ko dito, I'll try to summarize it a bit. For the purposes of argument, the criteria for national heroism is the aspiration and struggle for the nation's freedom and independence. Meaning, kaano ba ka-epektibo yung ginawa mo para maging independent ng Pilipinas? Because usually, that's how the national hero is defined. Okay? But the current national hero, wala namang batas, but the de facto national hero is Rizal. Sabi ko, not with this. Dr. Rizal immediately fails. What's up siya? Not only did Rizal not fight for independence, but our martyr fought for the Philippines to be a province of Spain. Alam niyo ba yun? Alam niyo? Yes? Sinong doon? Alam mo? Alam niyo? Okay, very good. Okay, and then I added a bunch of arguments. Pinakita ko pa mga sinulat ni Rizal. Dito, sinulat sa La Solidaridad. Philippines, these islands need the most help having been deprived of representation in the Cortes. The Cortes is the Spanish Parliament. Gusto nila ma-represent ang Philippines doon. If you're represented there, that means you're a province. Next. Continue. Nagsulat ako, sinabi dito ni Rizal, I have believed that autonomy was bound to come little by little and independence after a lapse of years. This is completely different to what Bonifacio was saying, because Bonifacio said, right now, Spanish, lumayas kayo. What Rizal wanted was, unti-unti, i-represent niyo muna kami sa parliament, bigyan niyo muna kami ng certain powers and authority and certain rights. Look at us, not as Indios, but look at us as Spanish citizens din. Para naman ma-build up din namin yung economy namin, and then by time, we can have our own strength to stand on our own. Next, sinabi dito ni Rizal, ito yung time na dinala siya sa trial. Sinulat niya sa manifesto niya, fellow countrymen, I have given many proofs that I desire as much as the next man liberties for our country. Reforms, if they are to bear fruit, must come from above. For reforms that come from below are upheavals, both violent and transitory. I cannot do less than condemn, as I do condemn, this ridiculous and barbarous uprising. Kinondemn niya yung uprising nila Bonifacio. He was completely against the KKK, which both dishonors us Filipinos and discredits those who might have taken our part. Lastly, sinayad ko dito yung sinabi ni Father Florentino sa El Filibusterismo, which was a personification of wisdom. Siya yung wisdom dun sa story na yun eh. Sabi dito, our ills we owe to ourselves alone. Let us blame no one. Why grant Filipinos liberty? With Spain or without Spain, they would always be the same, and perhaps worse. Why independence if the slaves of today will be the tyrants of tomorrow? And that they will be such is not to be doubted. For he who submits to tyranny loves it. Sabi niya, para saan pa? Eh kung yung mga mahihirap lang ngayon na inaabuso, the moment you give them independence, sila na rin ang mga abuso sa iba. And that's exactly what happened. Another article is, I talked about Philippine election and drama. This is the conclusion na. I'm giving an example of the conclusion. Sabi ko sa conclusion, speculation is utterly futile at this point. Nobody will able to tell among the spectrum of possibilities as every analyst of every team anticipates their next move. One thing is for sure, all the candidates' moves are fueled with political drama. And we love drama. That's kind of the punch there. I don't know if you like it or not. During this time, wala pa yung unity. Ang time na yun, tumakbong President si Bongo, tumakbong President si Bongo, tumakbong Vice President ni Bongo si Bato yata. Yun ang ginawa nila sa COC. And then eventually, yun na yung nagpalit-palit ng substitute. So I was saying here na nobody knows kung ano mangyayari. But there is drama. May hinahalo sila dito. There's something, they're building up to something here. Kasi obviously magulo eh. There's no way na magiging ganun magulo. And eventually, nag-back out si Bongo, si Bato, sinamsunod ni Sara, and then they built the unity. So, siguro marami sa inyo, okay, gets ko na yun, kaya ko lang mag-start ng intro, okay na yung mati ko, medyo okay na rin yung mga conclusion ko, medyo okay naman na. Kaya ko na mag-form ng essay. But how can I really improve? How can I be from a good writer to a great writer? Here, I would like to introduce to you is to find their style. Use stylistic devices. May stylistics pa ba? Okay? Sino dito tapos na sa stylistics? Nakapag-aral na ng stylistics? Anong year nyo na ang buhay? Third year? Sorry, wait. So siguro familiar na kayo sa stylistic devices. I won't make a deep lecture on what stylistic devices are kasi it will take up all of our time. But I'll just give you some examples para ma-visualize nyo naman. Para makita nyo paano ba nagagamit yung style and how do you find your certain style. Dito, this is my my piece na pinasa ko sa LEPC, which garnered second place. It's entitled Tar Politics. It's a combination of the words tar puti and like trapo and politics. Tar politics, a symptom, not the illness. So, binigyan kasi kami ng topic, sabi, kung kilala niyo yung Villar, yung mag-ingat kayo, ingat po kayo, o yun, ingat sa biyahe, yun, doon sa Cavite, sa Naga, maraming ganun. Walang katapusan. Hindi, pero nung time na yun, walang pati masyado eh. Nung time na yun, doon lang kasi siya sa NCR, sa baba ng NCR, doon lang siya eh. Ayun. Oo. Anyways, kulang na lang pati sa flight, makita mo. Walang katapusan, ang dami. And so, yun yung naisip nung judge namin na sulatan namin. So I thought, I don't see this as the problem itself eh. I look at it na parang di naman ito yung problem talaga eh. Sino sisisihin mo? Sa Villar? Eh, ginagawa lang naman niya kung ano yung uso eh. Sumasabay lang naman siya sa ano eh. Kung ano yung mass pleasing eh. So I argued that it's not the illness, it's a symptom of the illness. Kung baka medyo masakit yung dibdib mo, hindi yun yung problem. Maybe there's an underlying cause talaga. That's just a symptom. Yun na yung nagpapakita. So, this is, I'm going to tell you ano yung mga ginamit kong stylistic devices. If you can, please write that down. That's really, really important. Stylistic devices. Sabi ko dito sa introduction ko, a simple walk in the park in the Philippines would be everything but simple. As you inhale the smoke from a 50-year-old jeepney, walk over water from a canal, and ignore the hallucinating homeless man, another thing, or maybe it's a person, catches your eye. Your local mayor's greeting you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year through a tarpaulin where his face covers half. It's also the 20th of March. So I used certain stylistic devices doon. Obviously, I used satire. Bakit naman may Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, March na? But that's exactly what happens, di ba? Minsan, umaabot pa hanggang next year eh. Yung happy birthday naman ni kung sino-sino, everyday happy birthday eh. That's satire that's being comedic. I also used imagery, meaning pag pinasa mo, mai-imagine mo na siya. A simple walk in the park is everything but simple. As you inhale the smoke of jeepneys, walk over a canal, ignore the hallucinating homeless person, medyo nai-imagine mo. So I used imagery there na parang dalhin yung reader, maglahat din siya, to walk with me. And then I use irony. Familiar naman na yun. It's ironic, di ba? Na, so ito, per sentence ko. A simple walk in the park is everything but simple. That's the use of irony there. Next, ito naman, this is one of the earliest na mga nasulat ko. 2022, The War of Science. Ito, sabi ko, under the cloud of threatening war, it is humanity hanging from a cross of iron. What did I use? I used metaphor, I used imagery. Baka akala nyo, ginagamit ng ko sa poetry. No? Because if you don't add style in what you're writing, then again, you're just the same as ChatGPT. Wala kang style. Wala kang emotions. Wala kang heart. So I used metaphor and imagery. Dito next sentence, I said, humanity, prior to the nuclear bombing, this is, I was talking about yung nuclear war, was already disunified, thus wars raged on. But with the controlled splitting of an atom, humanity split for good. What did I use there? I used wordplay. Wordplay, ginamit ko dito, splitting of an atom, humanity split for good. You're using the same word, but they have different meanings. And then you use parallelism. Parallelism is, pagka gumawa kayo ng sentence, pare-pareho yung structure. So, sa grammar, but this is very important, sasabihin mo, the dancing, walking, jumping man. All of those use ing. Yung structure niya, it's parallel. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, next. Sabi ko dito naman, ito, the Janus dilemma. Charter change is both the cause and solution to secessionism. The Janus dilemma, Janus is a Greek god, or Roman god, I'm not sure. I forgot. Is a narrative where charter change, si Janus has two faces. Okay? He is the god of time. He is the god of the future and of the past. He controls time. And he is also the god of change. And so, para sa akin yung charter change, I argue, it's like Janus. Dalawa ang mukha niya. Meaning, because this was the time na ang topic noon, ang issue is yung separation ng Mindanao, secession. Sabi ko, charter change embodies, charter change is like the faces of the Roman god. Simultaneously embodies both the cause and the solution to the issue of secessionism. Sinabi ko dito, the only reason kaya tayo nag-aaway dito is because the lack of charter change or federalism. And then I'm also saying, yun din yung solution. Does that make sense? Okay. Sabi ko dito, the dance of charter change has become the divisive force fanning the flames of secessionism today, while also being the unifying solution through federalism. It's the reason why they're fighting, and it's also the solution paano sila magkakapayos. I used a few symbolism. What did they use to symbolize here? I used Janus, the Roman god, to symbolize yung issue natin dito. I used paradox. Paradox is something na parang circular reasoning. Parang yung solution, yun din yung cause, yun yung solution, yun yung cause. It's similar to oxymoron. Oxymoron is two opposite words, like basic calculus. Ano naging basic yung calculus? Doesn't make sense, but that's what it is. I use alliteration. Alliteration is a stylistic device, but this is auditory. This is not verbal. This is not textual. Alliteration, meaning yung sounds. Ano bang alliteration ko dito? Ito yata. Fanning the flames, federalism. FFF. I think that's what alliteration is. I forgot it. It's either that, because iba-iba yan eh. May alliteration, meron yung same start, meron yung same end, meron yung same yung gitna. Reviewin nyo na lang. Next, I wrote about messianism in Philippine political religions. So I argued na yung politics natin dito is parang naging religion na, and then yung mga certain people na leaders have become like messiahs. So, sabi ko dito, as of this writing, time of election, color pink dominates social media in support of Lenny, millions of Filipinos cheering for another Marcos, and melancholy takes over as supporters of Sara Duterte are prodigiously let down to their repeated rejection of a presidential bid. The common denominator, meaning of similarities, the common denominator among all supporters is their God-making, Messiah-seeking, and Hollywood reinforced fixation with idolizing their leaders. I remember during this time, I just woke up in the middle of the night and nag-scroll ako sa Facebook. May nakita akong post ng rapper na there was the supporter of Lenny Robredo. Matanda na siya lalaki. And then, he was so passionate with Lenny Robredo. To the point na he would say, si Lenny Robredo, she is like the Holy Spirit. Ganun siya. And she was turning Lenny Robredo into like a god. And so, it inspired me to write this. So, what are the certain stylistic devices that I use? We have the triad, the rule of three. I really like using this. Whenever I give adjectives or adverbs, I almost always use three. I don't know why, but it just feels good. 1, 2, 3, and then you continue. Sabi ko dito, ano tatlo yun? God-making, Messiah-seeking, Hollywood reinforced. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Pag 4, parang ang habang. Pag 2, parang kulang. 1, okay lang. 1, okay lang. It's just a feeling of mine. Siguro kayo, iba rin feeling ka. I use hyperbole, meaning OA ka. Oo, in-OA ko. Sabi ko, God-making eh. Hindi man lahat ng supporters, gano'n. But that's being hyperbolic. And then I use rhyme. Again, that's a stylistic device that's auditory. Rhyming, ano ba? God-making, Messiah-seeking, idolizing. So that's something that you can copy. Next, I wrote about araw ng Kagitingan. Sabi ko dito, one of the best lessons in the Holy Bible is that the dead can rise. And just like Jesus Christ resurrecting on the third day after his crucifixion, the Philippines will also rise from from suffering this diminution. Today, the debate will be, how do we rise? What did I use? I used a rhetorical question. And then I used a metaphor. I tried to use metaphor to parang ipakita na, ito, tinuro sa Bible. The dead can rise. Tayo, during araw ng Kagitingan, during the day of our heroes, we can also rise back again. Next, sabi ko dito, Philippine election drama, theater or authentic. This is my introduction. Aside from rice, telenovelas, and drugs with no proven health benefits, Filipinos love and are disturbingly passionate about one more thing: dramatic chismis. Anong ginamit ko? Again, triad. Rice, telenovela, and drugs with no proven health benefits. I used hyperbole, OA, ginawa kong big deal, and I used redundancy. Usually, sinasabi don't be redundant. Gusto ko nga maging redundant eh. Ang sinabi ko, dramatic chismis. Redundancy yun. Drama, chismis, same thing. But if I say dramatic chismis, mas ramdam ko nga eh. And maybe mas ramdam din ng reader. So, earlier sabi ko, how do you go from good to great? Before I said that, di ba, tinuro ko yung rules, tinuro ko yung structure, yung characteristics, sabi ko, do this, do this, do this, ganito ang sundan mo, follow this. If you want to be from good to great, that's when you learn how to break the rules. All of a sudden, you throw all the rules out. Kasi if you always contain yourself within this box, you'll never be great. Hanggang doon ka lang. The box is good, okay? Kasi sa umpisa, you need safety. You need something to guide you. You need something to help you. You need something you can follow. At least, you can be good. But you can never be great as long as you stay within your box. You have to get out of that. You have to explore. You have to break rules. You have to try something that maybe people don't like. But that's the only way you can go from good to great. So, how do you find your style? Write. Just keep on writing. Writing is just like playing an instrument or singing. It's something that you can improve on. And so by always writing, by always improving your work, and by reading your past works, minsan, siguro alam niyo na yun, nagsulat kayo ngayon, feel na feel niyo yung sinusulat niyo, feeling niyo, ang galing niyo, wow, ang ganda nitong nagawa ko, okay ito, the best job. And then after 1-2 years, babalikan mo, ay, ang cringe. Ba't ganun ko sinabi ko? Mali ba yung grammar ko? Because you'll improve over time. And next is, read. One of the things that really improved my writing is always reading. And not just reading, I'm not trying to be, judgmental here. But literature is a mountain. Hindi to waves. Hindi to whatever floats your boat kind of thing. Literature is a mountain, meaning merong mas better na literature. There's always something better. It's a mountain. And so, dati, nag-start ako magbasa Dan Brown. Yung sa... mga libro ni Dan Brown. Something about... Illuminati. It's mainly about religion eh. Kalimutan ko na. Basta, mga sikat yan. And medyo modern si Dan Brown sa atin, buhay pa siya. And then I started reading yung mga pakinggan. Yung mga dati pa, yung mga legends na sila. So I started reading some British authors, and then I moved on to Russian authors, to German authors. If you're familiar with Fyodor Dostoevsky, he's my favorite author of all time. Babasahin ko yun. When I go back to that, ano ba yan? Ang pangit, ang boring. Ito na yun. Ito na yung gustong-gusto ko dati. Because it's like a mountain. If you climb higher, and then you try to go back, hindi na. It's no longer the same thing. Literature is like a mountain. And you will see some literature talaga, ang ganda ng pagkagawa. And if you try to improve your own, and then go back dun sa mga nagawa mo dati, you'll see ang laki ng naging improvement. So since, again, you guys love quizzes, right? Let's have another quiz. Ito naman, let's try to practice our opinion stating skills. Let's have an oral essay. Is writing a talent or a skill? So again, hindi na tayo magsusulat. Make your point. Anong stand mo? Anong evidence mo? Again, evidence can be personal, it can be circumstantial. And then maybe you can try to end with a conclusion. Pero of course, we don't have high hopes here kasi on the spot naman ito. So if anyone is willing to share their thoughts, is writing a talent or skill. Kung 5 seconds lang, okay, 10 seconds, or anyone. Okay, what's your name? Okay, let's give a round of applause for Jonathan.
Is writing a talent or a skill? For me, writing is skill. Because for me, talent is something that you are innate with. Like, pinanganak ka na meron yun, for example. Magaling ka mag-drawing. Di ba parang innate na yun? Yung mga artists, like, sobrang bata pa lang nila, gagaling na nila mag-paint. So for me, that's talent. And skill, for me, is something that you need to practice with. You need to improve. Like, for example, writing. Hindi ka naman pinanganak na marunong ka na magsulat, di ba? Oh, di ba? Tinuruan ka ng magulang mo paano magsulat. That is, after mo matutunan kung paano magsulat, nag-practice para matutunan mo kung paano magsulat ng mga stories, novels, mga ganyan. And sa first try mo na pagsusulat ng novel, is hindi ka pa ganun kagaling. Yung skill mo is hindi pa na-polish, kaya ang pangit pa. Pero habang pinapractice mo yun ng pinapractice, pinapolish mo yun ng pinapolish, is unti-unti, nag-i-improve yung skill mo, and that's why I said that writing is a skill.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Ganda nung sinabi niya. Ulit-ulit niyang sinabi, it's okay, it's not that. It's okay lang. For me. That's okay. Okay? Nagustuhan ko sinabi niya, sa una, pangit. Pag tumagal, siguro medyo pangit na lang. Nabawasan yung pagkapangit. Okay, does anyone else want to say anything? Maybe may gusto magsabi ng talent. Even if you don't believe in it, talaga. Pwede naman eh. Try nyo lang siyang arguhin o mag-away kayo mamaya. Anyone? Maraming gusto pero kaya magkas na kamay eh. I can feel the energy. What's your name? Let's give a round of applause for you.
Writing, I believe writing, yes, it's writing is a skill, but it's also a talent because no matter a person can exert extra effort or even receive a formal education on writing, but if writing is not really your talent, it is not your God-given talent, no matter what efforts that you exert, no matter what you do, you will not achieve your goal to be a better writer. For some, their talents are not honed. That's why they are not given the opportunities to hone their talents. That's why they didn't have the chance to showcase their talents through writing. But for some, even when you start your writing journey through hobby, like me, my hobby was writing literary pieces, and from that, I honed that talent and tried to attend seminars like this. I even tried to exert effort to receive formal education about writing. That's where your talent really shows, and that's where you grow then as a person.
Thank you so much. I really like what she said. Sabi niya, she tried to get formal education. That's really good. Sabi ko kanina, if you want to improve how you write, you have to read a lot. Pero pag magbasa kayo, pag lang yung magbasa na parang ganun lang, na binabasa-basa nyo lang, you guys need to analyze talaga paano nyo pinustruct yung sentence. I-analyze nyo bawat word, bawat phrase, bawat sentence. Bakit ganito? Bakit pinuna niya to? Bakit mas gusto niya to unahin kaysa ito? At ito yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng topic niya? Because it really does make sense eh. Pag magbasa kayo ng William Shakespeare, please, pag niyong basahin lang, hindi nyo maiintindihan yun. You have to really analyze it. Pag nakita niyo yung yung certain books ko doon ni William Shakespeare, mga plays niya. Puro sulat-sulat, puro underline, puro additional sulat, ganito, ganyan. Kasi you have to, parang pag binasa nyo, parang cake lang yan. Huwag nyo tignan lang. You have to enjoy it. Namnamin nyo. Try to guess yung mga ingredients na ginamit. Try to enjoy it. Namnamin nyo talaga na. Pag after nun, ang ganda ng binasa nyo, ramdam nyo, oh, that's what I want. Okay? So, ano ba talaga yung totoo? Is writing a talent or a skill? What does the research say? Sabi dito, the role of inheritance cannot be ignored. About 20 to 30% are not environmental but parentally generated. Sa, ano daw, sa verbal ability daw, 20 to 30% daw is parental. So it does matter. It does matter. Kung sinong parents mo, it does matter. Alam naman na natin na may iba-ibang innate skills yung tao eh. May mga ibang tao na sabi nila, visual learner, yung iba, text one. Ako, honestly, from a very kid, very verbal talaga ako. Talagang mag-isip talaga ako, hindi ako nag-i-imagine ng pictures, wala akong sense of creativity na visual. Pero sobrang ganda ko. And not madaldal sa classmates, alam niyo naman yan. Pero madaldal sa sarili ko, to the point na maglalakad lang ako noon, pag wala akong kasama, nakikita nila ako naglalakad na. I'm not talking to anyone. Wala din naman akong ini-imagine na kausap. Baka isipin nyo, nagkakalusinate ako. But that's just my internal thoughts. And minsan hindi ko na pipigilan, ina-mouse ko na pala. So, ever since I've always thought na more of a verbal kind of guy. Though, hindi talaga ako mahilig magbasa ng tata. But let's continue. Dito pa rin tayo. What does the research say? Pinanganak akong di masyadong talented. What does the research say again? Sabi ito sa research na to, writers, just like musicians and athletes, must be trained so that they know what is retrieved and creatively applied during composition. Use of knowledge will require that college students deliberately practice the craft of writing. Sabi dito, deliberate practice, sabi ng researchers, deliberate practice, we suggest, should be the fundamental principle that guides the instruction or training of student writers. Kung sabi kanina, talent, di ba? Talent yun, di ba? 20 to 30%. Talent yun, di ba? Pero 20 to 30% lang. Pwede pa naman ihapon. So, how about me? Personally, akong speaker niyo eh. Was I born talented? Let's take a look at my grades nung grade 9 ako. Filipino, 79. Math, 72. Science, 74. AP, 73. TLE, 70. My English was 74. Bagsak, di ba? That was my grades when I was in grade 9. And yung grades ko rin throughout high school, honestly, it was relatively similar to that. Yan lang yung nagkataon na pinicturean ng kaibigan ko para asarin ako. Kaya hanggang ngayon, nandun pa rin sa messenger ko. Anytime, pwede kong balikan yan. And it does give me a sense of progress. Who would have known, di ba? Itong bagsak na grade 9 na to, siguro kayo hindi naman kaya ng grades yun ng grade 9. Baka may honor pa kayo. Ako na. Hindi ko mapangarap ang honor. Gusto ko lang makapasi. English 74. Pinanganak pa ako sa abroad na. Anyways, so what's my writing experience? I only started writing honestly in 2020. Kasi sobrang tamad kong magsulat ng pen and paper. Sobrang pangit ng sulat ko. And di ba yung teachers sasabihin nila, okay, sulat nito lahat, check ko lahat. O pagka di nyo ginawa, may minus points kayo, may ganito, may ganyan. Wala akong pakialam. Ayaw ko lang isulat eh. Ibibigyan mo ko ng minus points, siguro kaya pag-support sa ako, di ba? So, hindi talaga ako nagsusulat. Kaya na naisip ko, parang gusto kong sumali ng contest or sumali ng club, eh, huwag nga magsulat eh. Buti lang, nagka-pandemic. Wow. Ako lang yata makapagsabi nun. Because of the pandemic, wala nang pen and paper, ang submission sa Technoscope was online. So I was able to practice whatever I had, do my best. Nakapasa naman ako sa Technoscope. 2020, I was an opinion writer. 2021, I was promoted to associate. 2022, I was promoted to EIC. And then 2023, nag-compete ako sa LEPC. I failed. Ang lakas-lakas ng loob ng advisor ko. Ayan, si Agnes, magaling yan, galing yan. Mga kasama ko, Kuya Agnes, basic, top 1. Isa. Dalawa, editorial and DevCo. 2024, dinapan ulit ako. Naka 9th place naman ako sa DevCo, naka 6th place naman sa opinion. And then sa LEPC, di naman talaga ako magko-compete ng writing dun eh. Nakapunta lang ako sa LEPC kasi nanalo ko sa pageant. Nilaban ako sa pageant dun eh. Pero, kasi top 5 ang kukunin eh. 6th place nga ako sa opinion. Paano ako nakalaban sa LEPC? Sakto, may nag-back out na isa. Through that, nakapasok ako sa top 5. Nilaban ako sa LEPC. And then, somehow, I won 2nd place. And LEPC is like semi-national na eh. Kasi sabi nila, Luzon wide, pero may taga Cebu, may taga Davao. Luzon ba yun? What was the difference? Para sa akin, 2023 and 2024. It wasn't my skill. I'll tell you this, it wasn't my skill. This is something additional na. This is something that is not something that you cannot teach talaga. It's something that you can learn from a book. Maybe you can. When I failed editorial and DevCo, hindi na ako nagsulat. I stopped writing. Hanggang sa nilaban ako sa 2024, yun lang yung time na nagsulat ako. Prior to that, sulat ako ng sulat. Sobrang passionate kong magsulat. Gusto ko magsulat. When I failed, ayoko na magsulat. For a year, I didn't write a single piece. So, hindi ako nag-improve. Maybe I stayed stagnant. Maybe nag-depreciate ako. But I didn't improve, obviously, kasi wala akong practice eh. But I won 9th in DevCo and 6th place in opinion. I don't think it was my skill. I think it was my heart. 2020, actually it's 2023, it's actually 2022, but it's like November or December. I hated being there. I hated every moment that I was there. That was the time kasi I hated them so much. I just felt na I had a lot of good years dito. This time. So yeah. Sabi ko, hindi ako maging emotional eh. I hated being there kasi ayoko nun. Marami akong driver that time eh. Feeling ko kami nag-driver sa akin eh. Hindi ko napapangalan siyempre. Hindi sila. I felt I hated being there. And in a way, I also felt na maraming nag-hate sa akin. So I tried to do my best. Gusto ko manalo. Gusto ko mag-top 1 para ipakita sa kanila. Parang some kind of revenge sa kanila. Kasi I felt betrayed by my own editors during that time eh. But I failed. So that was like talagang feeling ko talagang apak na ako. Trinaygon lang ako, pagsakpak ko sa dalawang sinalihan ko. By 2024, I warmed up my heart a little bit. Mas napabuti ko yung um, mas napabuti ko yung feelings ko sa mga kasama ko, especially sa mga mas bata sa akin. Yung mga ka-age ko, still medyo mga negative feelings pa rin ako sa kanila eh. Tapos lalo-lalo na yung mga kasama ko sa sa opinion team. Kilala niyo si Jerry, tapos si June. I had a really warm heart for them and I really love being with them. And sila lang kasama ko. 2023, wala, kahit sila, di ko pinapansin. Ayun ko lahat. Imagine mo yun, andun ka parang nasa paradise, may beach, ang ganda ng beach, ang ganda ng waves, daming tao, ang sarap ng food, relax, aircon, parang paradise, but I hate every moment of that. 2024, mas nag-improve yung heart ko. Mas okay na, medyo okay na ako sa mga to. Yung mga certain people lang siguro na, ayaw ko kausap yan. Pero itong mga to, okay itong mga to. Medyo nag-improve. 9th place and 6th place. By Lepsi, fortunately, may nag-back out. Sinali ako. And that was the time when I received a book from a classmate, of course. And that book is basically about the blood of Christ and how He has bled multiple times. And so one of the chapters in the book discussed about how Jesus Christ bled during the Garden of Gethsemane. And when He bled during that time, it was a way na parang pwede mong i-absorb yun as a way to reject betrayal. Because that was during that time that Judas betrayed Jesus. I don't know kung pansin nyo sa mga articles ko, I really love incorporating the topic of religion. And so I read that, and I prayed about that, and I wrote the names kung feeling ko nag-betray sa akin. And then I was able to let it go. I felt like my heart was so clean and pure. I felt, in a way, sanctified. Na I'm no longer burdened by by my past. I'm no longer burdened by these other people. Someone told me, again, yung same classmate na yun, refusing to forgive is like poisoning someone else, but drinking the poison. If you don't want to forgive this person, hihit ko ng tao to, doesn't do anything to them. It only hurts you and it hurts your ability. So during that time, I was able to forgive, I was able to forget na rin, let it all go. And the moment I wrote, I was so free. Yun lang yung time na nagsulat ako na wala akong direksyon. Yun lang yung time na nagsulat ako na diretso. We had an hour and I finished, ako yung earliest, mga 40 minutes lang ako natapos. Binasa ko, okay na to, kaya ko may dagdag dito. Okay na to. I felt so free, I felt so mentally clear, and I was able to give all. Yun na yun eh, yun na si Agnes. Eto na ako. Hindi na to 99%, 98%, 80%, this is all of me. And I was able to give it all. And when I look back at that, sa mga past ko, siguro kahit ikaw, kahit sino nang nagko-compete, naisip mo, dapat ganito ginawa ko. Mas maganda kung ganito. Mas maganda kapag ganito yung intro ko, yung outro, yung body. Ay, nakalimutan kong pag-usapan yung ganito. Dapat ganito, ganyan. During that time, I would look at that and say, if I would go back here, hindi ko na ito kaya i-improve. Eto na yun. Kahit I do this 100 times again, I can't beat this. This is all of me. And by the grace of God, I won second place. So, if you have your skill, if you have what it takes to be not just a good, but a great writer, at still parang kulang pa rin, you have to examine your heart. There's something. Di ba ang hirap yung may family problem ka, tapos papasok ka sa school? It's the same thing. If there's something that's burdening your heart, hindi mo maibigay lahat. Bakit? Because writing is an art. Again, ano yung natutunan natin? Essay is to, verb, to try. Sabi ni Michael Chang, hindi ko man pinali. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So that ends my lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Agnes J. Estrada. What an amazing topic ang ating narinig sa ating second speaker. Again, let's give them a big round of applause.